Right, I'm the Irish taxi driver, back here with Frankie Boyle. So recently, you went on a hunger strike.
Yeah, I did a week. It was
Yeah.
a fucking nightmare.
A week.
Yeah. I was trying to write something about it, but it's hard to write anything about it because, like, it's such a miserable experience. But then at the same time, you've got to contrast it to fucking what people are going through in Guantanamo, where you don't even touch it. Like, you can't even properly empathise with it at your kind of hungriest or at your lowest in the thing. You're just like, this is nothing because I can turn the door handle and walk out of here.
Yeah. So it was about Shaka Amar.
Yeah. So Shaka Amar is the last British resident in Guantanamo. And like a lot of people in Guantanamo, he's been cleared for release twice. The British government say they want him back, and for some reason he's not been released.
Some people say it's because he's. I mean, even though you said the British government said they want him back, that there's a possibility that he might be going to sue the British government for being involved in.
That's not what I've heard. I mean, I think it's more that he's actually a kind of quite an eloquent spokesman for people in Guantanamo, and they don't.
But they're scared of him being out.
They're scared of him being out.
That's what I was trying to say.
And
because he's going to expose a lot of things that he has a lot of knowledge about, like what the operations was. He's talked to different people in there, and you know.
Well, I mean, he's you know the phrase they use, a detainee. You know, people are detained when you're playing taxis on the airport for a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a prisoner, and he's regularly tortured. So he's regularly subject to a thing called extraction teams who go in and beat him in his cell every day, and he's force-fed every night on a hunger strike. It's a real stain for America. And the fact, I mean, it's almost like it's like 2000 AD or something, isn't it? That they would go and set up a concentration camp in the Caribbean and start putting people in there without trial. He was an aid worker. He was actually building, for all we hear about misogyny and stuff in Arab cultures, he was trying to build a co-educational school in Afghanistan, and he was just swept up in that thing that's like the atmosphere after 9/11, which is vengeful chaos, and the Americans offer bounties on just basically any Arab-looking person you can find, which, you know, amounted to thousands of dollars in some cases, enough for life for some people in Afghanistan, and they just took everybody that got thrown at them.
So we see this kind of like that we live in this perceived society where we have freedom, democracy, and that. But like in the other ones we was talking about last night, you know, like about pussy rights, like they can do what they want, but we're going to be the good guys here.
Well, we're founded on exceptionalism. I mean, that's what we are. So we have a whole thing of why is it terrorism when someone attacks us, but it's not terrorism where we attack them? By any objective definition of terrorism, Britain and America commit acts of terrorism every day, and instead we have conferences every couple of years where people sit about and try and argue out definitions that mean things that they do, but not things that we do. So we're all about making exceptions for ourselves, and you know, you see that with Guantanamo as well.
I mean, I've got last year I had a student who was Iranian, and at the time of like they was pushing like to have a war in Iran, she was very scared, and they're scared because they think that the Americans and the British might come. Can you imagine that?
There's just such a low quality of information about the whole thing in Britain, though. I mean, Iran, apart from anything else, proposed that there'd be a shared bank of fissile material.
That's right.
If you wanted to have a reactor, that you'd have to go to a central authority and get that material, and that obviously was voted down by the United States and Israel. You know, because they don't want to stop proliferating nuclear weapons. They want other people to not have nuclear weapons. So you know,
the whole deal about Palestine is if people don't understand it now, is they don't actually want peace.
What, the Americans don't?
The Americans, the Israelis.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people understand the Americans' involvement there. People just see a headline pop up every year or so going, there's some kind of peace talks, and those guys don't seem to be able to get together.
It seems like... But the actual thing is they don't want peace. What we're talking about here, in a broader sense, is the war machine.
Yeah.
Banks, oil, and arms. So without widespread death and destruction, the global economy would collapse. So these sort of like operations that happen in you know, these 10 years war in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and, you know,
I don't think the global economy would collapse. I just think these people would stop getting a lot richer. They'd have to buy a slightly smaller boat, you know. If you look at Palestine, it's actually a fucking... it's actually a kind of trial run for a lot of new defence technologies, you know, and lots of stuff that gets sold. So, like, you remember the full body scanners that came in American airports and stuff? They come from Israeli technology. The Israeli have a lot of big defence companies, and basically they try them out on a live human population. And when you see them fucking bombing Palestine in one of their periodic fucking raids on the news on CNN or something, that's essentially the fucking shopping channel for these people. That's like, oh, those work. Fuck, great.
I mean, the centre of the war machine, which is driven by minerals, is the city of London, the city of corruption. This is where, like, all the mining companies of all the world come to London.
I think what people don't understand is that the city of London is a tax haven in itself, and it's constructed to attract hot money into Britain, and it's constructed to attract criminal money. As well as legal money into Britain. And a guy called Nicholas Shaxton, he wrote a really good book about it called Treasure Islands a couple of years ago. And it's all about tax havens, but essentially Britain is a tax haven. And when you look at all the fuss over Europe, right, you think, well, why are these people getting so upset over Europe? Because really they have a lot of similar interests and they're disagreeing about this. And really it's because they want to protect their pirate enterprise. Britain is like a pirate ship that's been called from the shore to come in for a health and safety inspection. That's how they feel about Europe. You know?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that all these within the city of corruption, they're nefarious sort of like projects in the Congo, in Mozambique, in you know, wherever they go in the world, about, you know, drilling, mining, like gas flares, merging the local population, paying militia.
Yeah, and also, you got to remember, I mean, it's hard not to start talking about it as if it's concrete, but it's all imaginary as well. So within the city, they're trading on imaginary representations of these various endeavours, and they take cocaine because they need a shitload of confidence because it doesn't exist.
Because a lot of the people that are trading up there, they're from Chislehurst, Bromley, Epping Forest. They're fucking gambling addicts.
They're gambling addicts and they're cocaine addicts. You know, so
sex addicts,
people who like a gamble, who need cocaine for confidence. That's the people who run your fucking economy.
But if we also, like within our country, every single road, school, hospital has been built on the debt of other people around the world. So, like when I was talking to Carla, he was talking about being the mother country and us going to these places and stealing their wealth and merging the people there.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, we're a great big imperial project, and we're living in this post-imperial age where we can't get used to it. And, you know,
is it post-imperial? Are we still not imperialistic? And Americans and Britain
Americans are. We're a client state of America. You know, we're an aircraft carrier for their fucking nukes, and we're a rubber stamp for their fucking aggressive wars. But we're not an empire.
I mean, the whole thing about, like, I went to Balcombe the other day, and you see in this little village, and they're there, they want to drill, and it's just a massive fucking operation. You see how many lorries and trucks have got to come into there. Like, when they go abroad, when they're in, like, Indonesia or wherever they got to go, they've ruined that place.
I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, but one of the things is you won't see any characters from there. They've learned their lesson and all of that. So like years ago you get things like fucking Swampy the environmental protester guy, and they'd have various fucking things where they go and visit the camp at Greenham Common and all that kind of stuff. Now you don't get that at all. You get kind of long shots of people seem to be annoyed about something, you know, because they're very careful to not allow that to seep into the general culture. The idea of, oh, we sympathise with these people. Oh, that's someone getting their landscape ruined. That's someone getting their fucking livelihood ruined. We kind of engage with that. They're very careful now to keep that at a distance.
But they're just in there. They're fucking in there drilling. They got Lord fucking Brown. They've got. Imagine Tony fucking Blair. He's like the head of the quartet in Palestine. He's like doing oil in Kazakhstan, fucking minerals with Paul Kagame in Rwanda. The man's a skull fucker.
Who would have thought it? He seemed like such a fucking nice guy.
But it's still like within this country. What about, like, we have the Queen's Geordie Cockney Army, which goes around and you know, I mean, what they do around the world is what the fuck are they doing? Killing people. Why are they so great to be proud of?
But like, there's loads of decent fucking people in the army. There's loads of decent soldiers, and there's loads of people like I started following some soldiers and fucking tweeting with them on Twitter and stuff like that. And like some of the things are like, I remember like when Osama being killed, I was like, I'm glad we're fucking sending more troops to Afghanistan now that Osama bin Laden's been killed quite a few years ago in Pakistan. And like quite a few soldiers are getting back to me going, that's the standard joke in the trips. It's actually something we all say.
So they're not all chopping off people's fingers, making finger necklaces, pissing on dead bodies.
I mean, the problem is the fucking people who are directing them. Do you know what I mean? That's the
because they've been trained. They're like look at Bradley Manning as well. Like had to sign when you become a soldier, you sign official secrecy. Like even if I see like children being murdered, torture, citizens, I can't say anything.
Well, it comes out in that whole thing of fucking like just at the point where they reveal that we're all being spied on as a matter of course that they call someone else a spy.
We're going to get onto that in the next. What is this? Number 4 coming up next.